So it's off season a little bit right now. We are hunting turkeys here in Texas, but I've got my mind set on my fall bow hunts, elk, deer. We've even got an antelope hunt. And you know, when I'm at the trade shows and people are just coming up and talking, a lot of the conversation is what broadhead do you shoot? And hadn't talked about that in a while, so I wanted to just kind of touch on some of those topics. You know, of course you got your fixed blade broadheads, your expandable broadheads, and you know, really I'm wondering what you guys shoot. So make sure to comment in and talk to me a little bit about, you know, what heads that you're personally shooting and why you shoot them if you got time to do that, because I love to hear other people's opinions on it. It's quite the heated debate amongst hardcore bow hunters. You know, are you a fixed blade guy or an expandable guy? I shoot Wac'em broadheads, and the reason that I do is, you know, I like a cut on impact head. I like a head that's gonna fly good for me, but it's gonna actually cut the minute it touches the animal's hide, because I don't wanna bleed any energy on the outside of the animal. I wanna be able to get two holes, because two holes are better than one. As corny as that sounds, that's the truth. Especially whitetail hunting out of a tree stand, shooting at that down angle, I want that hole in the bottom third of the deer, because typically that's where most of my blood comes in the blood trail. So if I don't get that pass through, it doesn't really matter how big that entrance hole is. If I don't get that exit, it could still be a hard blood trail to follow. So cut on impact head. You know, and then the challenge with fixed blades, a lot of you guys are probably saying it right now as you watch the video, they don't fly good. I've shot them all, and there are a number of them out there that do fly good, and there's some that don't fly good at all. That you got to really tune your bow or sight your broadheads in, and I don't want to do that either. I want to be able to shoot field points and be as close to my field points as possible, and that's where I landed with Wac'em broadheads years ago. Their fixed blades fly just like my field points. I've never sighted them into my bow. It's never happened. And I shoot the 4-blade. Typically 4-blades are harder to get to fly. The reason that these fly so good, if you look at that, it makes a perfect ramp. Bring the video up here and show them what that ramp looks like. So what I mean by that is from the tip, that sharp edge of the ferrule, and the blade aligns, so it's one straight plane. So what that allows is the air actually is able to ride down the shaft and pass through the blades, and the air is spinning on the arrow so that your fletchings are driving the arrow instead of your broadhead. So a head that might have a real blunt point on it, or the air gets displaced as it's going around the broadhead and gets wider around the arrow, your fletchings aren't able to keep your arrow and drive it. And that's what's critical. So that's why this head flies so good. And really the 4-blade and the 3-blade from Wac'em, I can't tell the difference in how they fly. So I like the 4-blade, I want the extra blade cut. So for you guys that are stomping your feet and throwing a fit right now because you want to shoot expandable broadheads, I hear you loud and clear. There's a lot of advantages to it because the holes are definitely bigger. You know, that a lot of guys like that giant, you know, cut. So my suggestion to you is, if you're going to go down that road, especially on deer or whatever you might be hunting, make sure you get one that does have a cut on impact type tip, so that you don't bleed as much energy as those blades open on the outside of the animal, so you can still get a good chance at that second hole. Because if that expandable with that big hole comes out the other side, now that is a big blood trail. And so that's what you want. So make sure as you pick your expandables, in my opinion, again, my opinion, something that's going to cut when it hits, okay? I've got the Wac'em steel expandable here. It's a 3-blade, and it's got a similar tip to what the fixed blade does. So when I do shoot an expandable, this is my head of choice. There's some other great ones out there, no doubt, but definitely think about cut on impact. I think when you just apply that logic to whatever broadhead you choose, you'll get a lot more pass-throughs, you'll get better blood trails, and you'll put those animals on the ground. It's not going to be too long. We'll be hunting this fall, so be thinking about it. Get some out, shoot them, see what you think. I mean, there's other heads out there, but I tell you, if you shoot that Wac'em 4-blade fixed, it's really hard to beat this head. I've killed brown bears with it, killed elk, moose, whitetails, mule deer, killed them all with that one head right there. And then expandable wise, for guys that just got to have that, think about something that's going to cut on impact and get you all the way through the animal. It's real important. We'll check in with you later.